Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. We are going to listen Christian Horner. Let's hope to have any news about the qualifying.
So this is a completely different challenge in this weather, but we'll see.
The weather again is looking poor for tomorrow, so there's a high chance of potentially a wet race. From your side, from the driver's side, how are you setting up for that? Are you going with the forecast and putting a bit more of a wet setup on the car, or
you're trying to find a middle ground? I mean, arguably after that race, one would have taken downforce off. Then you see the weather, and you think, we've got a 5-place penalty to deal with. So we'll see. It's all about finding a middle ground.
From the driver's point of view, Christian, what you know of Max, is he relishing a wet session, or is he nervous?
I don't think he's nervous, but I think that that wet is always a big variable, and there's so many things that can change. If the rain arrives, the circuit dries, it's being out at the right time. Just to make sure that that's the golden rule, is be on the circuit at the right time.
Christian, what's the mood in the camp? Obviously, Max has still got a 44-point gap, but after that sprint race, it's just they're biting into that gap more and more. Is his mood shifting? Is he sweating?
I don't think so. I think, he came back from that race pretty pumped up that, if he'd have managed to pass Charles earlier, he thinks he could have had a go at the McLaren. So I think he was very motivated by that. I think the whole team, was pleased to see that. So I think there were a lot of positives to take out of that short sprint race.
Were you surprised by that? Because I think we were all thinking McLaren, given their qualifying pace, would look strong. I think Ferrari looked worse than I was expecting, certainly. Were you surprised by your own pace?
We were quite surprised, because the pace that McLaren always seems so good on their tyres. They seem very strong in the races, but in that race they looked the same as we did. From everything we could see with the tyre, it was in exactly the same condition as Max's, and indeed Max was able to stay in that slipstream for a very long period of time.
Christian, we were just talking to James Vowles before we played in the highlights of the sprint there, and we're talking about Franco Colapinto, what a successful start he's had to his F1 career. He said there's interest from a number of teams. Is yours one of them?
Well, I think it's great to see these juniors doing a great job, and we've got Liam Lawson obviously in the V-Carb doing a really good job. Oliver Behrman, he should get a shout out today, because he was impressive. And I think Franco again is a kid that's doing really, really well. And of course you're always keeping an eye on the driver market, and Franco definitely, he's got, I think, the qualities to be a potential star of the future.
Okay, appreciate it.
Definitely is going to be the star of the future, but let's hope for him to have that seat. Also, Christian Horner was really, really optimistic about Max Verstappen's championship position. The car is fast, like they will. For them is the biggest problem this rain, because also they had a 5-place grid penalty because of the power unit change. But he is optimistic. Also, Red Bull's pace was like McLaren's, maybe a little bit faster, but he didn't manage to pass them. Max Verstappen didn't manage to pass them because of the Charles Leclerc. Like he was struggling to pass Leclerc, but we will have a very, very interesting season until the end of the season. I think that 60% is Max Verstappen is champion, 40% Lando Norris, but we will see what will happen. If you have any comments about this interview, just comment it, like the video, subscribe the channel.